We're here with Graham Niven from Tandem Finance Solutions in Moston. Good afternoon, Graham. What are the main reasons that people get into debt?
The main reason is probably because, I know it sounds really simple this, but they just spend too much. They want things they can't have and borrow from people who will lend to them. There are other reasons people get into debt because they have a breakup of a relationship, I suppose, so divorce, breakup of relationships, pregnancy, potentially redundancy as well, but that's, in some respects that's maybe a little bit more now, but in the previous 5-10 years that's not been a major issue. It's been more spending too much and probably relationship issues.
Do you think Christmas will create more debt for families?
Always does.
Always.
I'm always busier in January, February. February and March are the busiest months of the year because people have spent up to Christmas and thought, I'll sort it out in the new year. They get their December credit card bill, which they maybe don't quite pay as much on. Then the worst one is the January credit card bill, and therefore February always becomes the busiest month of the year. So in answer to your question, yes. And today with the credit crunch, people are still spending, people will always spend for Christmas. They might spend a little bit less, but they're still going to spend a lot of money.
What's the average level of debt in the UK?
You've got two sorts of debt. You've got secured debt, which is mortgages, and you've got unsecured debt, which is things like loans, credit cards, store cards. The average mortgage outstanding at the moment is about 102 grand. So that's the average. But obviously that ranges from people like my mum and dad who have got zero to people who have got 300, 400, 500,000 pounds. So the averages are difficult sometimes. In terms of unsecured debt, which is probably more of an issue, the average level of unsecured debt in the country is about 9 grand. But again, that includes my mum and dad who've got nothing. And the average level of people of unsecured debt for people who've got debt is about 20 grand. And that's become a much more worrying statistic than in previous years. It's just got more and more people have put debt onto loans and credit cards. So that's a big change. Is
this level increasing or decreasing?
It's increasing. It's still going up. I know it sounds sad, but I know these figures. There's 1.4 trillion pounds of debt in the country. That's 1.4 with about 12 zeros on the end of it. Although, in fairness, most of that is secured debt. Most of that is mortgages, and that's okay if house prices are still on the up. The problem is, as we have now, house prices have come down 15%. I think the problem is people have been buying houses as investments rather than as houses. And buy-to-lets is a classic. Buying flats in town for Manchester for 150 grand. And they're now worth 120 grand or less. The rental market's okay because people can't buy houses because mortgage companies aren't lending as much as they used to. Yeah, it's going back to the old days where you used to have a deposit, whereas the last 5 years you've had these 100% mortgages, 125% mortgages. Northern Rock have this product or had this product called Together Loan, where you borrowed 100% of the value of the property. So say 100 grand house, buy for 100 grand, and then they top it up with another £25,000 unsecured loan. Yeah, I know. And then they worry why people are in debt. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll lend you the full amount of the house and another 25 grand to do it up. Then you think, well, I might do, and then I might go on holiday with 5 grand of it, etc. And then to people, then your house isn't worth what you think it is.
If you're in debt and watching this video, what should you do?
Do something. I always say to people, you do something. Doing nothing you're never going to get out of debt by doing nothing because it doesn't go away. It's like illnesses, you need to go to doctors. Debt's the same thing. You need to go to someone who's prepared to give you some advice. And I offer free advice. I go and see people in their house because they've always got all the information there, and it's much easier. And I don't charge for that. I just go see them. And the thing I always try and do is work out how much they owe. So let's just say that's 20 grand. How much should they be repaying each month? Say that's 500 quid. The really important one is how much can they afford to repay each month? And that's just taking their normal income less their normal expenses. And hopefully they've got enough left, but not everybody does. And then the other thing is, do they have any assets? Because that has an implication. And I just go sometimes that's all people need. And sometimes they're not as bad as what they think they are.